Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Thursday, September the 8th. The year's 2022. Let's talk trading. Trading is all about you, part 7 with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmal's. Walmal, I gave you a heads up. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here and talking about breaking the rules, because you stress having a trading plan, following your trading plan, but every now and then I know, just like today, you broke a rule, and the rule you broke today was when I called you. Said, I go, are you done for the day? You go, yeah, I'm up X and I'm probably done for the day. But of course, you've made a couple trades since we've been on the phone.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is, I don't want to say that rules are made to be broken, but the reality is we can to do that. But at the same time, I think that that's something that we got to be awfully cautious about. And maybe there's some rules that you can break, and other rules that you probably shouldn't break. Maybe that's a better way of looking at it. But the reality is sometimes there are things that are out there. It's like, okay, that rule is just not holding right now, and is this rule that we have here, is it a law or is it a rule? And I think there's a distinction there. The reality is here on Earth, the law of gravity, unless the Earth comes to a spinning stop, a screeching stop, I guess we would have to say, the reality is gravity is always going to be there. And, there's nothing you can do about it. But at the same time, there are other things that, that you may have a rule that says, okay, because of gravity, I'm not going to jump out of an airplane. Well, what if I jump out of an airplane with a parachute? And you look at it that way, and then all of a sudden, well, maybe that's a rule I can break because I've got other things that are there that can come and protect me.
Yeah, but gravity still will bring you back down to Earth.
It's going to bring me back down to Earth, but it's going to bring me back down to Earth safely. I guess is what I'm saying, as opposed to going splat at terminal velocity.
But back to breaking rules. When do you? I guess it's kind of like the Matrix. Some rules you can bend, and some you can break. When
Exactly.
when do you bend the rules? When do you break? What is it? Is it just your human nature, or is it's something that you see that says, nope, my setup is good even though I'm down, and I'm gonna stick in this trade.
I'd like to go and say that it's because I see something, and sometimes I do, but the reality is I'm human like everybody else, and we go and break things because we're human, and we do silly things, and sometimes we get away with it, and sometimes we don't, but I like to go and say it's just because I see something on the chart, but the reality is that I'm going to be honest with everybody and say, you know what, sometimes we just break rules because we become, we see something, and instead of waiting for everything to fall into place, we jump in early, which is sort of like what I talked about yesterday that we got to be so careful of, or at least I have to be very careful of, and, you get yourself into some trouble because of it.
Right.
So so I guess the reality is I break rules when, like, just like I said, just like everybody else, sometimes I break rules just because, I just get impatient. I know this market's coming down. I know it is. I'm going short now, as opposed to waiting for the setup to really, come into place. And next thing you know, yeah, I'm right. At the end of the day, I was right. But the thing is, I was in there, maybe an hour too early or 2 hours too early. And next thing you know, I had to go and suffer a big loss because it still had to go and blow off some steam on the top, and you wind up getting yourself into some trouble, and that's the thing. If you're going to break rules, you need to go and understand the risk of it. There's some real risk, and you need to go and understand that with that risk, was the, I guess the best question is to go and ask the best way to answer that question is it worth, taking a risk, breaking a rule? Is it really worth it or not? I'm going to go admit I broke a rule while we've been on this call. I said I'd never go. I try not to take trades when I'm distracted. Well, talking on this video, I'm distracted, and I took a short. So I picked up a couple of pips. But the thing is, yeah, I got lucky because I saw a perfect setup for the way I trade, and I took the trade, and I made a couple of pips. Okay, got lucky. They could have just as easily gone against me. And what do I do to protect myself in that situation? If I wasn't on this call with you, TRO, and we weren't doing this video, I probably would go and assess all the conditions in front of me, try to make a determination. Do I get out here? Do I go and try to average in? Do I, or a number of other tools that I may have in my tool bag. But because I broke a rule, if it would have gone against me, what I would have done, because I know myself, what I would have done was I immediately just would have said, get out, take the loss, and just, say, hey, that's what happens when you break rules. And so I think the bigger question is not when do you break a rule, but what do you do after you've broken the rule? In other words, okay, if it goes in your direction, great, wonderful, that's easy to deal with. But what do you do if it goes against you because you broke a rule? Do you immediately get out? Do you go and start pulling, tools out of your tool bag? How do you go and deal with that? You had mentioned Mighty One to me earlier today. And he had said something along this many years ago. He had said something. You stay in the trade until you no longer would take the trade, or something similar to that. You can clean that up for me. But okay, we're in the trade. What do we do now? Do we stay in the trade? Do we get out of the trade? Do we, all these decisions that you normally have to make, but now you're in the trade because you shouldn't have been in the trade in the first place. So now I think that what happens is you wind up having some emotional damage from that because, you're now sitting there trying to figure out what to do, and you're kicking yourself in the head because you went and took a trade you shouldn't have taken, and you absolutely know you shouldn't have taken it in the first place. And so now you're fighting your emotion from making a mistake, and being down. So now there's money out of the pocket. My rule of advice in that situation: clear the decks. Just get out. What do you say?
Well, the Mighty One was saying about, when you move your stop loss up, say you're long and you move it up to say like break even plus 10 or something because you're up 15 pips. It's like, well, would you buy right now? And if you wouldn't buy right now, then just take your 15 pips. I mean, and there's a lot of wisdom in that simplicity if you think about it. It's
absolutely. I agree with that.
But then on the other hand, you're thinking, well, this, like if you say you're looking at the range, like the daily range here, and right now we're at 84.7. That's only at the 17th percentile out of the last 100 days, and we've got an average range of 132. So this thing could blow, up to easily up to the 116 and beyond, just based on range. But the question is, do you want to, risk those 5 pips for the 50? Well, somebody might go, well, yeah, that's not a bad risk. So it just depends. And when do you break a rule? What do you do after you break a rule? Probably you just try to get back to normal is what you should do. But chances are, when you break a rule, it's is it on tilt? Or was it an inadvertent rule break? Like maybe you thought you had all the signals, but you read something wrong.
Right. And the thing is, we part of this whole emotion thing that we talk about all the time, we're all human and we're all going to make mistakes. And the reason why I bring this up is because you just triggered something in my brain there. And did you just miss something on the chart? Okay. folks, you can't, if you just misread something on a chart, don't beat yourself to death over that, because there's nothing good that's going to come out of that. The only thing that's going to come out of that is you're going to go and be exhausted, and you're going to have low confidence, and you're going to be, next time you're going to be afraid to take a trade, and you're going to triple and quadruple check, and you don't have time sometimes to triple and quadruple check. So don't beat yourself up over those things. Those are things that are going to happen. So what do? You do the next best thing you can after that, and that is just say, I'm in it. Okay. Trade it as if I was supposed to go into this trade. Do I get out of the trade? And what I mean by that is, if this was a legitimate trade, would I be getting out now? Yes, get out. If it's the type of thing where it's going in your favor, it's going in my favor. If I was in a trade and I didn't break any of my rules, would I get out here or would I wait? Make the decisions based on whatever your trading plan says to do. And go from there. In other words, I like what you said, get back to normal. Okay? I'll put it a different way. Get back on your trading plan. Just get back on your trading plan. And, I said earlier that, maybe just get out of the trade, immediately. Well, that could be part of your trading plan. If I screw up, get out of the trade. Don't even think about it. Just get out, because here's the reality. Unless the market explodes against you, more times than not, it's not going to do that. If you got into a trade accidentally, you realize that you broke rules to get into the trade, get out, take a loss of pip 2 or 3, whatever it may be, and you can make that up on the next trade and just go on that way. That may be part of your trading plan. Or maybe you don't have that as a rule in your trading plan. Maybe you have a rule in your trading plan that goes and says, if I do that and I accidentally break my rules, or I do break my rules on purpose, I trade my normal exit strategy. Whatever it is, just get back on the trading plan. And that's the most important thing, because here's the reality. Yeah, you messed up in the beginning, but the thing is, if you get back on the trading plan and you mitigate the damage, okay, or you go and maximize the plus side of it, you can go and say, you don't look at your mistake. You look at your success. You look at what you did to go and manage the position you were put in. You said to me, Tiro, a while ago, as an exercise, it'd be a really cool thing to do for training traders, is to go and have an app or whatever, just to go and, randomly drop you into a trade anywhere on the chart, okay, in no particular direction, and have that trader trade their way out of it. Okay, have them go and trade their way out of it. And I would say, that may be a very good exercise, but the only thing I would say is add to that and say, trade your way out of it, but you must use your trading plan to trade your way out. Don't just go and, and make up a trading plan on the fly because you're running into that situation. No, go back to your trading plan, figure out what your trading plan says to do, and then go and execute it. And in the long run, that's going to be better off, because it's not just going to help you with this trade, mitigate damage or maximize your win, but it's also going to go and help you on the next trade, because you'll already be on that road of being back in position of following your trading plan. And that's the most important thing that we can do as traders, is be disciplined to follow our trading plan.
You made me think of something, and we're going to probably have to discuss it in another video because we're almost out of time. But if you drop somebody into a trade and they have to follow their trading plan, the only thing they can do is manage the money. And so they say, well, if it goes here, I'm out with the loss, or if it goes here, I'm going to take profit.
Right.
Because other than that, because I would assume we're not going to allow them to add to the trade.
Right.
But then
unless
again,
unless the trading plan goes and says, hey, we're allowed to go and add to the trade. Let's say the trade's going in your direction. Your trading plan says we stack on in these particular situations, and that situation happened. Right. Yeah, I'd let them stack on. Okay. Why not?
Okay. Well, like I said, the fastest 15 minutes in trading is up once again. And well, maybe we'll just continue this topic for the rest of the month, because I think there's a lot to it, or maybe at least another week or so. So remember, traders, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.